On this week's episode of Sports Paws, it's the home stretch for the spring teams. We'll take a look at how John Delaney has his baseball team in position to strike and check in on men's lacrosse and its bid for a deep run in the MAAC playoffs.
And we'll see how the acrobatics and tumbling team fared in the national semifinals. And the women's tennis team made the NCAA tournament for the second year in a row. We'll bring in Coach Paula Miller to talk over their chances. Sports Paws starts now. And then there was one. Welcome to the final episode of Sports Paws of the 2014-2015 season. I'm Carolyn Fales.
And I'm John Alba. And tonight we start with the Quinnipiac baseball team, one that's gunning for its best season in nearly 10 years. The Bobcats played host to Marist last week, looking to maintain control of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. To the Quinnipiac baseball field we go for game one of this three-game series. We're going to start you off here in the bottom of the first inning as Marist leads 2-0. First and second with one out, Vin Galletti up to the plate. He's going to single through to the right side off Chris Napolitano. That's going to load the bases for Lou Ionati. If some of you saw the QBSN magazine that came out this week, Ionati's got a nice little piece there. Did you read that, Carolyn? I hope you did. Bases loaded for Ionati, but not what he wanted. That's 3-6-1, a double play. That will end the inning. Still 2-0 Marist as we head to the top of the second inning with the Red Foxes out on top. Now the Red Foxes have a chance to strike. Zach Rakusin at the plate, one out, man on first, and about 4-6 double play on the line out. It's still going to be Marist at the end of two. Marist leading 2-0, that is, of course. Bottom of the fourth inning, Matt Off-striker at the dish, and watch this play by Matt Bellitz. He's going to make a diving stop and throw it over first to retire the side. To the sixth we go with Marist still leading 2-0. Top of the sixth, bases loaded for Marist, and Thomas Jenkins. Yeah, that's what we call gunning him down. He's got 39 on the season today. 2 outs, but that doesn't work. John Brucker singles up the middle. 2 runs are going to score for Marist. The Red Foxes move ahead 4-0. Quinnipiac's going to have to battle back from that, and it wouldn't be so easy. And we head on to the bottom of the sixth. No outs, man on first for the Bobcats. Matt Bannon is going to get a bunt base hit, setting up first and second with Vin Galletti at the plate. He's been so good this season. He's going to single, loading the bases, and Quinnipiac's only going to manage to score 1 run on a Lou Ionati ground out. Marist is going to lead 4-1 as we head to the bottom of the eighth now. Marist up 5-2, and John Bodenhammer at the plate. He's going to put that one out there. That's a single. 1 run's going to score. Quinnipiac would score another to cut the deficit to 5-4. And, well, Marist says we're going to think things over. And they're going to send in Ryan Thomas, a submariner, kind of like Mike Myers meets Byung-Hyun Kim. A few differences, I guess you could say. He pitched the final 1 2/3, bottom of the ninth. Here's Off-striker. He's going to take a called third strike. That would do it for this one. The Bobcats would lose 9-5. Napolitano picks up his 4th win of the season, moving to 4-2. Jenkins drops to 4-4.
Moving right into the second of the 3-game series, John Marist taking on Quinnipiac again. Will they be able to get the W for this one? Starting in the bottom of the fourth, Marist leading 4-2. Scott Donahue and Matthew Batten on base. Vin Galletti slams one deep right, and that'll get Donahue and Batten to come around and score. Tying the game is at 4. As you said, John, Vin huge for the Bobcats this year.
He likes Rizzo's ring.
I've heard that. Moving on to the bottom of the 5th, game tied. Julius Saporito advances to third after a Mike Palladino single. Donahue would lay down a sacrifice bunt. Saporito would score from third. Bobcats would take the 5-4 lead, and they would take it from there and win the game 9-4.
Quinnipiac would drop Game 3 of the series to Marist, but would remain in strong standing in the MAAC. Bobcats are currently the number 3 seed in the conference with an 11-7 slate. Ryder and Siena remain atop the MAAC with 9-3 and 8-4 records respectively. Quinnipiac will wrap up its MAAC schedule with a road series against the top-seeded Bronx before getting ready for the MAAC tournament. Bobcats have not held the number 1 seed in a conference tournament all the way since 2007 when the team failed to make it to the NEC championship game.
After their 3-game series with the Red Foxes, the Bobcats faced off against out-of-conference foes Hartford and UMass Amherst. Delaney's squad beat Hartford earlier in the season, but the Hawks got the early lead this time around. The Bobcats cut the lead in half to 4-2 in the bottom of the 5th when Vin Galletti hit a double to the right center field gap. But Quinnipiac just couldn't get ahead as Hartford pulled away with a 7-5 win. The Bobcats then traveled to Amherst to take on UMass. Freshmen Charlie Morey and Robert Hitt combined to throw a 3-hit shutout to defeat the Minutemen. 6 different Bobcats tallied a hit in the victory.
Well, Morey Hershgordon joins us now to talk Quinnipiac baseball. Morey, thanks for joining us.
John, for your last show, anytime.
Oh, thank you, Morey. Well, we'll start with Vin Galletti, who's been tearing it up as the Bobcats head down the stretch. His senior season has seen him become one of the MAAC's best, Morey. What has he done this year to elevate his game to the next level?
John, first-year head coach John Delaney talks about it all the time. Vin Galletti's approach to the plate is a lot different. His batting average is way up. He's hitting .436, which gives him first place in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. His strikeouts are at an all-time low, just 17 on the season. 7 home runs. He's really driving the ball to all fields, and he's feeling good at the plate.
Now, Morey, this team experienced a coaching change this year from longtime head coach Dan Gooley now to John Delaney. What about Delaney's coaching has worked this year?
Well, Carolyn, it's a new face to the program. You know, he brings big-time experience. He brings a winning pedigree. John Delaney played at Quinnipiac from 2005 to 2008. In 2005, his freshman season, the Bobcats won the regular season and postseason NEC conference tournament to go to the first NCAA tournament in Division I program history. Then in his junior season in 2007, the Bobcats won the regular season NEC championship for a second time. Delaney brings a young presence. You know, he's only about 30 years old, so he can connect really well with the players, and just that positive attitude day in and day out is really starting to pay dividends.
Well, he's done a nice job because we just saw Quinnipiac stands at 3rd in the MAAC. As conference play wraps up, will this be a favorable draw, or does it need to take that next step?
I think it's going to be a favorable draw. Quinnipiac will not play Canisius or Iona, the best hitting team and the best pitching team, respectively, in the conference during the regular season. But I think the pitching will be just fine. As long as the defense fields behind them, they'll be all right. The defense is fielding at a .970 clip. Pitchers need to throw strikes. As Carolyn mentioned, in the UMass Amherst game this past Wednesday, that's 2 freshmen, Robert Hitt and Charlie Murray, combining for a 3-hit shutout. You know, you ask me if 2 freshmen, you know, late in the season, middle of the week, can throw a 3-hit shutout. Definitely great things to come.
Now, Morey, you just kind of touched on it, but this team brought in a few freshman pitchers, and they also returned quite a few. How has the pitching contributed to the success of this team?
Well, along with the midweek pitching, Thomas Jenkins leads this squad as a sophomore. He had a dominant summer in the NECBL, just about a .3, .4 ERA in about 44 1/3 innings. Wyatt Hamilton is the second pitcher. Justin Thomas is the third. It's a formidable lineup with 2 righties and a lefty to go for the weekend, and they have an experienced bullpen. Greg Egan, can hit about 90 miles an hour with his fastball, and his slider is definitely improved from last season. Gary Binkowitz, a graduate student, is back. So they're definitely a formidable pitching to go forward. You know, if the hitting's there, they're batting .301 in the conference, and they can flash a little bit of the leather, you know, Bobcats might bring home the MAAC championship.
Sounds good, Morey. Thanks, as always. You always have some good things to say.
I'm going to miss you. Don't go too far. Keep up the good work, all right?
You too.
All right, thank you.
And we're going to move along now, John, from baseball to men's lacrosse. The men's lacrosse team taking on Detroit Mercy. All right, so Detroit Mercy taking on Quinnipiac for the semifinals of the MAAC championships. We're going to start late in the first. The game is tied at 2. Connor Meth passes to Brian Feldman, who will get one in. QU takes the 3-2 lead at the end of the first. Similar story here, Meth to Feldman. QU now up 5-2 at the end of the first. At the start of the second, Pat Corcoran will pass to Brian Feldman again, who will score. Quinnipiac now up 6-2, taking a lead with this game for sure. In the middle of the second, Kevin Deal will pull a nice move. He'll get past a defender. QU now with 6 unanswered goals. Matt Kaisia will put in the 7th unanswered goal. Detroit trying to answer back. Mark Ansted will score and the run in the third. Brian Keenan will give it to Brian Feldman for his 4th of the game. Quinnipiac goes up 13-4 and goes on to win the game 16-9 and advances to the MAAC championships against Marist.
Kyle Firestein of the MAAC, thanks for all that footage. Well, when we come back, Pat Cassidy makes his Sports Paws debut. It only took so long, but he finally's done it as he looks ahead at men's lacrosse's big matchup against Marist with a conference title on the line.
And the women's tennis team finished an undefeated MAAC season. But John, will they be able to continue their success in the NCAA tournament? We'll talk to head coach Paula Miller. Stick around for more.
We are your source for entertainment news.
The Bobcat Shop, located at 1010 Sherman Avenue in Hamden. Your #1 choice for Bobcat merchandise. The Bobcat Shop features 2 floors of countless styles and colors. With a full 19,000 square foot screen printing and embroidery operation on the premises, Campus Customs and Simplify can design and decorate any garment or promotional product as quickly as needed. Stop in and say hi.
Welcome to Joya Spa and Salon in Hamden. Whether you want a new look or the perfect wedding day hair, come to us for complete hair and nail care, cuts, styles, updos, extensions, and beautiful dimensional hair color, as well as manis and pedis, acrylics, gels, and shellac. Treat yourself to a facial, a peel, or microdermabrasion. Relax with a variety of massage techniques, including Swedish and hot stone massage. Joya Spa and Salon. Call today.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. With their win against Detroit Mercy, the men's lacrosse team has advanced to the MAAC championships, where they will take on top-seeded Marist. We are joined now by our lacrosse analyst, Pat Cassidy, to talk over the Bobcats' chances. Pat, thanks for coming on.
Anytime, guys.
So, Pat, let's start off with the semifinal game against Detroit Mercy. What can Feketa's squad take away from this win?
Well, what they can take away is that they've depended too much on offense all year. Against Marist, they cannot do that. Now, you saw Brian Feldman. He had 4 goals. They've pretty much depended on him all season. He has 29 goals. He leads the team and is currently 3rd in the conference. But, unfortunately, they have to change their game plan against Marist under any circumstances. So, really, they could use this as a tune-up game.
Well, Pat, we just saw the Bobcats drop Detroit Mercy 16-9 in the semifinals. Which guy stood out most for you in that 7-goal win?
Well, I touched on this before. It was definitely Brian Feldman. As I said before, he's been lighting it up all season. Leads the team with 29 goals. He was MAAC Rookie of the Week, 2 or 3 times. And on top of that, he had 4 goals. So he has been leading this offense, not only this offense, but the entire team all year, as they have depended on him and the other 2 attackmen all season.
Now, the Bobcats made a run to the NEC championship in 2011, but have yet to clinch a conference title in the NEC or the MAAC. Pat, what do they need to do to change this?
They need to get off their dependence on the offense. If they get into a shootout against Marist, they will lose. Marist is leading not only the conference, but are in top 10 in the country in goal scorers. They're averaging 11.9 goals per game as compared to the Bobcats' 9. That is a full 2-goal difference. They need to depend more on defense. After all, they are anchored by Carmen French, who is a first-team All-MAAC. They need to step up. On top of that, their goaltender, Jack Brust, needs to step up as well. His goals against average is .52, which means he's been doing just enough to get them to this point. But he needs to step up and make more saves, especially against Marist. They have one of the best offenses in the conference. They are anchored by Joseph Radin, who's leading the offense with 46 goals and was the Offensive Player of the Year. To go alongside him, they have Colin Joka, who has 36 goals. Those 2 guys alone have more goals than the top 3 players on Quinnipiac. So they cannot depend on the offense as they did throughout the season. They need the defense to step up.
Well, one of the guys you mentioned and who has been a major key to success for Quinnipiac has been Brian Feldman. The freshman's been a firecracker on the field with nearly 30 goals on the season. Pat, what kind of impact does he make in your mind on the field for Quinnipiac? He
makes a huge impact. In my opinion, without him, the Bobcats do not make it this far. Because as I said before, they have depended on offense all year. While the other 2 offensive men, Ryan Keaton and Michael Stagel, have been doing good, they did not come close to Feldman. Feldman has been leading this offense. He has been leading the team. He is the reason they are in the position they are right now.
Well, Pat, it's an honor to have you on the program. Thrilled that you could make it on before, what do they call it, the Great Beyond that I got to go to, something like that. Thanks for coming on with us.
For your last show, John, anything you want.
Anything. All right. Well, let's move on to acrobatics and tumbling then, because that's what I want to talk about. Because acrobatics and tumbling seasons came to an end April 24th after Quinnipiac dropped to Azusa Pacific in the NCAA National Quarterfinals. The Cougars defeated the Bobcats 279.705 to 277.525 at Joe Redden Arena. This is the second year in a row the Cougars have knocked the Bobcats out of contention, as Azusa took down Quinnipiac in last year's national semifinals. Quinnipiac's lone win of the day came in the toss event, where it posted a season-high 29.15. Azusa would drop to eventual national champion Baylor in the next round. Quinnipiac closes its season at 5-4 overall.
All right, John, and a perfect season in the MAAC for the women's tennis team means they will be heading back to the NCAA Tournament for the 8th time in program history. Pretty impressive. The Bobcats will head down to Chapel Hill to take on the number 2 seeded North Carolina. The Tar Heels boast an impressive 27-1 overall record and are entering the tournament for their 13th time in the last 14 seasons. The winner will take on the victor of the matchup between William and Mary and Dartmouth.
I believe we're going to shoot it in just a moment over to Paul Carucci. Paul Carucci. I can't talk right now. It's the nerves getting to me.
It's fine, John.
Paul Caracciolo. We can put this on the blooper reel. We can put this on the blooper reel for all of you guys. I know the whole crew back there is laughing it off. Oh, it's Alba's last show. Let's have him screw up a little bit. Well, Paul is standing by with Quinnipiac women's tennis coach Paula Miller. And Paul, I very much apologize for that. I do beg your pardon. It's all you.
Not a problem, John. It's Paul Caracciolo for future reference.
There we go. Thank you.
I'm joined here by Paula Miller, Quinnipiac women's tennis coach. Paula, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Congratulations on such a great season so far.
Thank you.
Now, this is your first year as head coach, and in your first season, you've achieved MAAC Coach of the Year. Now, can you talk about what you attribute most of your success to?
I mean, I've been with the program for 18 years. This is my 18th season, and I was actually Coach Quicko's first recruit way back when. And, you know, I learned a lot from him through the past 17 years in coaching. And, you know, I just kind of took the reins from him. And the program we have, you know, it has been successful, and we just hope it stays that way.
Now, you had a star senior, Jacqueline Rayner, who had a standout season this year. What do you think was the difference for her this year compared to seasons prior?
I mean, I never thought Steph Petricki had the 165 wins. I never thought in a million years anyone would come close to that. Jackie wanted it this year. She knew she had the chance to get it, and I mean, I think she is 18-0 in singles and doubles in the past few matches. She hasn't lost since like March 17th. So she wanted it. She's a great player, and she's going to be a big loss for us next year.
Now, last week the team won its second straight MAAC title. What progressions has the team gone through to achieve 2 consecutive conference championships?
You know, I have 5 sophomores, and back in 2004, we had that class win 4 years in a row. So my sophomores, who there's 5 of them, they're hoping to achieve that same thing. They want 4 championships in a row, and that's our goal. Our goal is to keep winning. I think Marist is going to be the tough one next year, but you know, we have 4 freshmen coming in that are going to impact our team, so we're hoping that helps.
Now, next week you have a big matchup against the number 2 Tar Heels in Chapel Hill. What steps is the team taking to prepare for this big matchup?
You know, we're going to go out and practice just like we do. They're number 2 in the nation. Basically, we're just going to say go out and have fun. We're the underdogs. Hopefully, we'll go out and, you know, make some upsets here and there. But it's just a great experience to play a, you know, top team in the nation.
Thank you very much. This was Quinnipiac women's tennis coach Paula Miller. I'm Paul Caracciolo. Thank you for staying with us.
Thanks, Paul. When we come back, we'll wrap up the year that was in Quinnipiac athletics. From championships to outstanding senior athletes, John, it's been quite the year for the Bobcats.
That it has, Carolyn, and several Quinnipiac basketball players are set to make a jump to the pros. We'll tell you who when we come back.
The Bobcat Shop, located at 1010 Sherman Avenue in Hamden. Your #1 choice for Bobcat merchandise. The The Bobcat Shop features 2 floors of countless styles and colors. With a full 19,000 square foot screen printing and embroidery operation on the premises, Campus Customs and Simplify can design and decorate any garment or promotional product as quickly as needed. Stop in and say hi.
Welcome to A Sheer Sensation, North Haven's premier cosmetology service, located at 140 Washington Avenue, minutes from Hamden. We offer an array of services, from basic cuts and colors to lash extensions and formaldehyde-free keratin treatments. We also provide hair chalk and styling for men. When you spend $60, your Q card will get you 10% off. Call us at 203-239-6477 to make your next appointment at A Sheer Sensation.
Jordan Palucci has been an offensive juggernaut during her time at Quinnipiac. The senior has been derailed by 2 ACL tears alongside several other crippling injuries, but has continued to be a leader on her Bobcat squad. Now she puts herself in position to be a future Quinnipiac Hall of Famer. Palucci set the softball program record for runs batted in April 29th as she collected her 125th of her career. The run helped Quinnipiac top UConn 5-4 on the road.
And John, commencement is just 16 days away, as I'm sure you might know.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So we here at Sports Paws will honor some of the spring season's top seniors before they depart Quinnipiac.
Let's start with men's lacrosse's Michael Sagal. Sagal has been as consistent as it gets for the Bobcats over his 4 years, never registering less than 33 points. His 50 in 2015 have led the Bobcats to the MAAC championship final, where he hopes to extend his career into his first NCAA tournament matchup. One more goal will give Sagal 80 for his career.
And John, we talked about her a lot before, but women's tennis's Jacqueline Rayner has grown from a freshman posting only 11 singles wins to a senior leading her team to back-to-back MAAC championships. Her honors and accolades grow by the week. During the conference championship, she added her second straight MVP title, which is just very good for her. Rayner and her partner Michelle Dassa broke Quinnipiac's career doubles records with 83 wins.
Well, then there's Vin Galletti. Even as Quinnipiac struggled in his first 2 seasons, Galletti strived. The East Haven, Connecticut native holds a .303 career average, with 7 of his 15 career home runs coming in his senior slate. He currently leads the MAAC in slugging percentage at .585 and wears a mean cap and gown.
Rounding out our list of seniors is Nikki Barba of the softball team. Barba contributed on a regular basis to the Bobcat offense with 15 home runs and a .325 average during her time in a Quinnipiac uniform. Also looks great in a cap and gown, John, as I'm sure you will in a couple days.
Let's hope so. And while those 4 may have succeeded in the spring, some Quinnipiac seniors used their winter success to jumpstart their pro careers. Samantha Guastella made threes like they were layups during her career at Quinnipiac, and now she'll get to do it on a global stage. Guastella recently signed to Slammers Player Agency, where she will look to play overseas. She shot just under 40% from 3 in her career and averaged 12.8 points per game in her senior season. Her play helped Quinnipiac clinch its second ever NCAA tournament berth.
And former guard Evan Conti finished his senior season shooting 38% from behind the arc, while averaging 9 points and 5 rebounds per game. This week, he signed with the Summit Sports Group. Conti played in the Junior Maccabee Games in 2009 and told Q30 Sports that it's been his dream to play internationally ever since.
And rounding out the group is Zaid Hurst, who signed with Andre Buck. Hurst had the best season of his career in 2014-2015, being named first-team All-MAAC. The Bethesda, Maryland native never missed a game in his 4 years, playing in all 125 matchups. He averaged 18.3 points per game in his senior year, one that saw him become the only sole captain in Quinnipiac program history, basically a modern-day Cal Ripken Jr.
Okay, John. Well, John, this season was certainly a good one for Quinnipiac athletics. Andrew Badillo has more on the year that was in Quinnipiac athletics.
2014-2015 was a year of ups and downs for Quinnipiac athletics. Controversy surrounding 2 winter sports teams gained headlines, but 2014-2015 saw overall progress for most teams. The winter season saw both the women's and men's ice hockey teams and the women's basketball team make the NCAA Tournament. For Rick Seeley and his women's ice hockey team, it was the program's first appearance in the tournament, but it didn't last long as Quinnipiac was bounced by Harvard 5-0 in the first round. The game would be Seeley's last as coach of the Bobcats, as he surprisingly resigned amidst allegations of physical and verbal abuse. And it was the same old song and dance for the men's ice hockey team as it was knocked out in the first round of the NCAA Tournament by North Dakota. Moving over to the hard court, it was a Jekyll and Hyde season for the Quinnipiac men's basketball team. After learning that transfer guard Gio McLean would be ruled ineligible due to a forged transcript, head coach Tom Moore was left with some tough decisions to make. The loss of McLean and inexperience in the front court proved to be too much for Quinnipiac as it lost to Marist in the first round of the MAAC tournament. 2013 saw the first NCAA tournament berth for Trisha Fabry and her women's basketball team. The group of girls coming off the bench, then referred to as the Gold Rush, consisted of Nicoline Ostergaard, Jasmine Martin, Samantha Guastella, and Gillian Boo Abshire, all returned to the big dance one more time in their senior season. But this time as members of the starting unit, the Old Rush. Quinnipiac ended Marist's reign as 9-time MAAC champions, defeating the Red Foxes in the MAAC championship game. The Bobcats would fall, however, to the Oklahoma Sooners in the opening round of the NCAA Tournament. As the winter weather overstayed its welcome, spring sports are blooming come semester's end. Under new head coach John Delaney, the baseball team is sitting in third place atop the MAAC. Vin Galletti is having an outstanding senior campaign, hitting .338 with 7 home runs and 32 RBIs. The men's lacrosse team has also experienced success this season, as they will be looking to bring home some hardware this weekend. Quinnipiac plays Marist in the MAAC championship game Saturday at 2 p.m. up in Poughkeepsie, New York. The women's tennis team has already defended its MAAC championship and is headed to the NCAA tournament. They will face off against North Carolina. Andrew Badillo, Q30 Sports.
From the year that was to the top 5 plays of the year, let's take a look at what made headlines at Quinnipiac this past year. And there were so many plays that we had to look through on our fantastic B-roll hard drive, and we were able to come up with some of the best. Let's start with number 5. This guy was pretty popular. Men's soccer versus Monmouth. Borja, and going to watch this save. Diving all the way to his right. Puts that one outstretched, double overtime. MAAC goaltender of the year.
Number 4, Vin Galletti, a home run against Northeastern. This ties his record for home runs and ties his coach John Delaney's for 5th all-time with 201 hits.
It's not bad. Like I said, he likes Rizzo's Ridge. He likes Rizzo's Ridge, and he will most certainly be having success after Quinnipiac. And someone who will also be having success after Quinnipiac is Natalie Costco. She tried not once, not twice, not thrice, not 4 times, but 5 times against Eastern Illinois University. The Bobcats would win 64-8. Remember this one? The dings, the dings, the dings, the dings. Oh, you wouldn't remember. You were in London. You decided to abandon us.
Coming in at number 2, Jasmine Martin scores a 3 off a pass. She'll come in from Wallingford, John, getting that 3.
He's right in front of me.
They will win 88-85 in overtime, keeping their perfect 15-0 MAAC record.
And number 1, game 1 of the quarterfinals in the ECAC playoffs, Sam Annis. He's going to score not once, but twice to keep the Bobcats in this one and putting them over Union. Now, everyone remembers what would happen to Annis, the leg injury that many believe ultimately cost the Bobcats when all was said and done. But in the end, the Bobcats would win this one 4-3 in triple overtime. Well, we're going to peel back the 4th wall for just a minute. See, this is not just Q30's last show of the year, but it's the last for all of us seniors at the station. Now, Carolyn, I've been fortunate enough to serve as general manager here for the past 2 years, yet Sports Paws is where it all began for me and many of those here. See, I remember being called by one of our old executive producers, Mike Auletta, and being asked to serve as an associate producer. 1 year and several all-nighters later, we had the best team in college television on staff. Through people like Mark Spillane, John Small, Giovanni Mio, among countless others, we were fortunate enough to build the program into the best college sportscast in the country. Sports Paws is also where it began for the young woman sitting next to me. September 14th, 2012 to be exact, as she filmed the Quinnipiac men's soccer game against Yale. I oversaw Carolyn on her first shoot and immediately saw someone who was eager to learn and to excel. Now she'll have the opportunity as general manager to bring Q30 where none of us could. and I have no doubt she will. Because Sports Paws doesn't just produce leaders, it manufactures them. And I believe those on staff, including the talented producers today, realize that. So thank you on behalf of all of those who have dedicated their lives to this show for the past 4 years. And thank you for being part of our journey. And
now, John, I said before that you couldn't make
Save
me
me.
cry
Save
during
me.
this and that you couldn't cry. And it's just very emotional because John brought me in as a freshman and he taught me everything along with a couple other guys. And it's just been amazing to see where he's taken this station from when I started, and I couldn't be more excited to take over for him, more proud to call this organization a family. You're the best. He's simply the best, and there's nothing else to say.
you're going to be great, kid.
Thanks.
You're going to be great. Well, that does it here for us on Sports Paws and for all of our programming at Q30 Television for the 2014-2015 school year. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Q30 Sports.
And also be sure to check out our website, q30television.com, for all of the latest on Quinnipiac sports and from Quinnipiac in general.
It's been my favorite website for the past 2 years,
Same.
and I have a feeling it'll be continue to do so. For the seniors, for all of those who make this station what it is, for the Q30 Television family, we thank you for tuning into all of our programming, and I know that she's excited to say that we'll see you next time.